Hello there, my name is Luke and welcome to my match review of match day 7 of the non-league season. So as always, we're going to start in the Vanarama National League, and the first game today that I'm going to talk about was between Forest Green and Southport, and Forest Green ended up winning that game 5-1. So they are now in second place. They've got 16 points. They got off to a bit of a shaky start, but they've won a few games in a row now and they've gone right up to second in the league. Southport, they are now second bottom. Their one goal that they did score was from Andy Bishop, their player manager, taking matters into his own hands or his own feet, but it wasn't enough and they're struggling. So the second game that I'm going to talk about in the Vanarama National League was between Bromley and Eastleigh. Bromley won their last game on Saturday 4-1 away at Guiseley, so they're going in great form into this game, but they ended up losing 5-0 to Eastleigh. Ronnie Moore getting his second win out of 2 matches as Eastleigh manager. Amongst the goals was a hat-trick for Mandron of Eastleigh, who they signed from Sunderland in the summer. So the third game that I'm going to talk about in the Vanarama National League was a clash between the team that before the game was top and bottom. It was Tranmere versus Guiseley, and as form would suggest, Tranmere did win, but it was only 1-0. A goal from James Norwood ensured that they would remain top of the league, and means that Guiseley, after 7 games, they have no points. They've lost every single one of their games that they've played so far. So looking over to the league table, we have got in first place, we have got, as I just mentioned, Tranmere on 19 points. In second is Forest Green Rovers on 16 points. In third is Lincoln City on 15 points. In fourth is Dagenham and Redbridge, also on 15 points. And in 5th place, making up the playoffs, is Aldershot on 13 points. So looking down to the relegation zone now, and in 21st place is last year's playoff semi-finalists, Braintree Town. They had an amazing season last year. They were the underdogs, they did incredibly well, but they've lost a lot of their players, they've lost their management team, and they're really struggling. They are down in 21st place on just 5 points. In 22nd is Woking on 4 points. Also, they had an okay season last year. They weren't in the relegation fight, but it looks like it could go that way this season unless they turn it round. In 23rd place is Southport on 4 points as well, and bottom of the league is Guiseley with no points so far. Now moving into the National League North, and the first game that I'm going to talk about is between Alfreton and Tamworth. And coming into this game, Alfreton, they'd had an amazing sort of weird start to the season. They've been incredibly inconsistent. They had a run of loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So you would think that the next game would be a loss to carry on that run of form. And it was a loss. It was a 5-2 home loss to Tamworth. And I find it incredible that Alfreton are being this inconsistent. They literally lose then win, they lose then win. It's ridiculous. They've done it that consistently so far this season. They are the second top scorers in the league with 19 goals, and they're also got the second worst defence with 20 conceded. So they're great going forward, but they're absolutely horrendous at the back. So the second game in the National League North that I'm going to talk about was between Halifax and Harrogate. So this game was played at the Shea, and it was between 2 teams that have made great starts to the season. They were both up near the top of the league, and it ended with a 1-0 victory for Harrogate. A goal from Emmett in the 65th minute meant that Harrogate are now in 3rd place with 17 points, whereas Halifax drop all the way down to 10th place with 11 points. They've had back-to-back defeats after a really good start to the season. I think it was only about 2 match days ago that they were top of the league. It might have been 3 match days ago, I can't remember. But it was not long ago that they were top of the league, and they've dropped right down to 10th. So they've got to build back. I'm sure they'll be back up in the playoffs within no time because they've got the quality of the squad to do it. So the third game that I'm going to talk about was between FC United of Manchester and Darlington. Darlington have made an incredible start to the season, and they continued it with a 3-2 away victory against FC United of Manchester. An 81st minute winner from Nathan Cartman ensured that they would take the 3 points back up north to Darlington. So a really good result for them. They are now 4th in the league. So looking over to the league table, and there are 3 teams that have 17 points. There is AFC Fylde, Salford City and Harrogate. AFC Fylde are top on goal difference. They have scored the most goals of anyone in the league. So then in 4th place is Darlington on 16 points, and in 5th place is my beloved Kidderminster Harriers. sneaking into the playoffs on 14 points. So moving down to the relegation zone, in 20th place is Stalybridge Celtic. They had a great start to the season. They won on the opening day, but they've lost 6 games after that. So they are now on 3 points from 7 matches. They're on an awful run of form. Below them is Nuneaton, who have played 6 games and they have 2 points, 2 draws. In 22nd, just below Nuneaton, is Worcester City, who are also on 2 points, 2 draws for them, but they are below Nuneaton on goal difference. So now moving on to the National League South, and the first game that I'm going to talk about is between Hampton and Richmond Borough and Dartford. And Hampton and Richmond, newly promoted to the National League South, they're doing really well, right up near the top of the league, and they continued that run with a 4-1 victory over Dartford to put them, keep them in 2nd place in the league, only behind Maidenhead, who managed to win 2-0 against Truro yesterday. 2 more goals from Dave Tarpey. He has now scored 10 goals this season, so he's on great individual form. Maidenhead are doing really well at the top of the league. The third game that I'm going to mention from the National League South was between Ebbsfleet and Margate. So Ebbsfleet managed to win this game 4-0. They've got so much money. They're now up into 5th. They've been out of the playoffs for a few match days now, and they're back up into the playoffs. So they need to be in the playoffs. They need to win the league, really, based on how much money they're spending. But they're up in the right sort of area now. Margate, though, they're down into 18th place. They're really struggling, which is disappointing for me personally, because I've done a really good Football Manager save with them this year, where I got them to win the Champions League. So yeah, if you want to see any of that, I can make a video on it if you want. So just let me know in the comments. But yeah, it was a pretty fun save, which I've been doing since like the start of the game. So now looking over to the National League South league table, and in first, as I mentioned before, is Maidenhead. They have got 18 points from 7 games. In second is Hampton and Richmond Borough, who have 16 points. In third is St Albans, also on 16 points. In fourth is Poole Town, also on 16 points as well. And in 5th place is Ebbsfleet United on 15 points. Moving down to the relegation zone, we have in 20th place Oxford City. Now they have got 4 points from 7 games. In 21st, a team that I wasn't expecting to be right down there, and that is Welling United. They've made an awful start, only on 2 points. They should be doing a lot better considering they're newly relegated from the National League. They should be a lot higher. I thought they would be, and they're not. They're not doing very well. In 22nd place is Concord Rangers, also on 2 points. So that is it for my Matchday 7 review of the non-league season. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button and subscribe. Now, I am sorry that I haven't done one for Matchday 5 and Matchday 6. I was on holiday, as I mentioned in my Matchday vlog yesterday, of Kidderminster Harriers versus Altrincham. If you haven't seen that video, there'll be a link on the screen. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.